So the following key terms and keywords are explained to just help you do a semiotic analysis of magazine covers. First term that we're going to look at is this word codes. And all codes are the rules and conventions by which signs are put together to create meaning. This is nowhere near as complicated as it might sound. Basically, it means that anything on a magazine cover can be analysed and can be deconstructed, and it has meaning. Now, when we looked at advertising, we looked at codes of advertising, but we broke them down into written, symbolic or visual, and technical codes. And we can do exactly the same here. So written codes can be things like the masthead or the strapline or the cover lines. So of course we can analyse what the words mean and the language devices used. For example, the word glamour as the masthead of this magazine connotes fashion, it connotes luxurious lifestyles and so on. But we can also look at the style, the font, the size and also the colour of the written codes as well. So for example, the pink colour of the glamour masthead has connotations of femininity and also complements the entire style and layout of the magazine. So they're written codes. Of course, visual and symbolic codes would be things like the main image, the choice of model or celebrity used on a magazine front cover, their facial expression, gesture, posture, and so on. Technical codes would be things like the shot type and framing used, any computer-generated images that have been maybe composited in, and the overall layout of a magazine as well. The important thing to remember is that any element of a magazine can be analysed. We need to look at all of the different codes on a magazine cover and see how they work together. Anchorage is a simple term that we've used before when discussing advertising, and in fact that we looked at when we first started looking at different media texts right at the beginning of term. All anchorage is the copy or writing that fixes the meaning of an image. Obviously, that old cliche, picture tells 1,000 words, and of course we can read images in lots and lots of different ways. But it's the writing, the copy, usually a caption, sometimes a cover line as we see here, that really helps the audience understand what the image is about, the context of the image. So if we look at both of these, first on the left, Look magazine, an image of Lindsay Lohan. Possibly this could be a paparazzi photograph, although it could be a fashion or even a studio shot. By itself, if you imagined it without the cover line next to it, this could be about anything in Lindsay Lohan's life. It could be her arriving at the red carpet do of a new film premiere. It could be a fashion shoot, a new look. However, the cover line on the left gives this context. Shock warning, Lindsay, months to live. She vows I'll defy docs. Obviously, quite specific. We know that when we read on inside, we're going to be reading about health matters and possibly quite a troubled article. On the right hand side, Katie, so over it. The image again could be a fashion shoot, it could be a paparazzi shot, it could even be some kind of studio shot, an exclusive interview. Katy Perry looks sullen, she looks serious. For all we know, this could be an article about a new direction in her music, or again a new fashion line, or even a new change of image. But of course the anchorage, Katie, so over it, puts the audience in no doubt that this is an article about her relationship with Russell Brand. Moving on to a phrase that you probably all heard before, unique selling point, or as we abbreviate USP. This is very simply something that makes the magazine stand out from its competitors. Often this will be an exclusive, so as we see with Now magazine, the interview with Jordan's mum is exclusive to that magazine, something that no other magazines have. Other times USP can be a freebie, something given away, as we see on the NME on the right hand side, free posters. Finally, we'll look at this idea of audiences and how to categorise them. We've looked at various different audience classifications as we've studied the media. Two more ways to consider the audience to be segmented is mass and niche. Mass audience is a broad, large audience. As we see on the left, People magazine, very popular, world-famous celebrities, human interest stories, things that people talk about every day, and that obviously aims itself and targets a mass audience. On the right-hand side, we have much more specialist magazine. It's a hobbyist magazine, and again, even within hobbies, a very specialist hobby. And so we say that is aimed at a niche audience. There's a couple of things to remember here with mass and niche audiences. First of all, the mass audience doesn't always have to aim itself at the mainstream, whereas People magazine here does target obviously a mainstream audience. Other magazines, fitness and lifestyle magazines, fashion magazines like Vogue, Marie Claire, they still target a mass audience, although that mass audience may come from other segments of the 4Cs model. Maybe the aspirer, maybe the succeeder audience type, but there's still a very broad and large audience for those magazines. Likewise, with a niche audience, you have to think that this is an audience group that's hard to pin down, that is very specialised. It's not just specific such as sports. So, for example, 442, the football magazine, would still be aimed at a mass audience because football is such a popular sport. There's so many people that do enjoy it and would be a target audience, whereas more niche sports such as taekwondo or perhaps table tennis, magazine targeting an audience for people who play those sports would be considered niche.